With Stormy Daniels back on the stand now, I just want to fill in some things. So from inside the courtroom, our journalists and legal experts are giving us minute by minute. You can see part of that on the right side of your screen. Here's some. I can see a few of the jurors from where I am sitting at the moment. This is from one of our producers. They seem engaged, paying attention. One woman on the jury is taking notes. They're looking at the exhibits when they are entered into evidence and glancing over at Stormy occasionally. Marc Thiessen, Fox News contributor and former White House speechwriter. Great to have you.
Great to be with you, Harris.
As this is going on, I'm thinking about 14 days and a couple of them where the former president has managed to be on the campaign trail. Is that enough to sustain his lead in some key battleground states over Biden?
Well, I think this whole thing is helping him enormously. Man, I feel very badly for President Trump that he has to go through this, but politically, it's political gold for him. First of all, it's creating sympathy for him. I mean, he's facing 91 charges at the federal, state, and local level. Charles Manson faced 10. The polls show, our polls show, that people think this is unfair. And so it's creating sympathy for Donald Trump. Second thing it's doing, it's distracting us from the issues that voters say they care about. I mean, our campuses are on fire. The border is on fire. The world is on fire. We've got wars raging on 2 continents. We just learned that Joe Biden has threatened to cut off aid to Israel if they go into Rafah. And the left wants us to talk about a porn star. I mean, the voters look at that and they say, what are these people talking about? They're focused on the wrong thing. And then the third thing is, it's forcing him into a basement strategy. So the reason Donald Trump lost in 2020 is because people liked his policies, but they didn't like his inflammatory style. They didn't like the way he behaved and the way he talked, and they were kind of tired of it. Well, he can't say anything inflammatory when he's sitting in a courtroom all day long, right? He can't say things that are offensive to people when he's in a courtroom. And so the reality is that he's not offending people. There was a New York Times Siena. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead and do your poll, and then I'll ask my question.
Yeah, no, there was a New York Times Siena poll that just came out. They asked, has Donald Trump ever said anything to offend you? 6 in 10 Americans said either no or not recently. And among 18 to 29-year-olds, 77% said either no or not, never or not recently. I mean, that just destroys the whole Biden campaign strategy. Their whole strategy is Donald Trump is so offensive, we can't let him back into the White House. And if people aren't finding him offensive and they find what they're doing to him offensive, then that's good for him politically.
That is an incredible set of information there in terms of the polling and the details and the question that was asked, because if that was in fact, and we know that it was, because when you talk with voters, they'll tell you, but if this is somewhat changing the game for him, along with the decisions that a current president is making that is clearly offensive to a lot of people across the country, particularly the economy, how we're dealing with our strongest ally in the Middle East and withholding weapons potentially and all of that. One last one for you, Mark. I want to bring this in. So NBC News and others are reporting that Barron Trump will step into the political arena as a Florida delegate at the Republican convention. I'm working with our team to make sure that we can confirm that. But do you need different types of surrogates now? You've got Senator Rick Scott here at the trial. He may be in an overflow room. We haven't determined that yet, but he's able to monitor this and then come out and give news conferences on behalf of the president. And then these reports that Barron Trump may be stepping into the political fold there. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, Barron Trump's about to graduate from high school. We don't know if Donald Trump's going to be allowed to attend his graduation, which is another thing that people find offensive. He's always kept his family close to him. I mean, he had Jared Kushner and Ivanka at the White House. His other sons have been involved in his campaigns. His daughter-in-law, Lara, is at the RNC. So it would make perfect sense. Barron becoming, he's 18, he's an adult, he's graduating from high school, he can get into the family business too. And look, they're not going to shut up Trump supporters. They can put Trump in a courtroom, put him in the dock, and keep him gagged, put gag orders on him, but they can't gag the Republican Party and his people who support him.
All right, Marc Thiessen, thank you. We'll bring you back as this situation rolls on. I really appreciate you being with us for this hour.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.